Welcome back, students. So lately we had been discussing about how we are going to answer the questions using chaining and resolution. We had discussed that chaining can be subdivided into two categories, forward chaining and backward chaining, and we had started discussing resolution as well. While discussing resolution, we had discussed that basically resolution requires different techniques and these different steps, and these steps can be subdivided as the facts which we are having. These facts need to be first converted to predicates, and then those predicates are going to be converted to CNF form. The CNF form is also called closed form. So this CNF stands for conjunctive normal form. So once we have facts converted to conjunctive normal form, we are going to have a question, or we will call it a goal. So what we are going to do is, this goal is first of all going to be negated. After negating the goal, we are going to convert the goal also to conjunctive normal form. And after doing this, what we are going to do is, this negated goal converted to conjunctive normal form will be considered as parent clause for applying resolution. Now whatever number of different literals it has, we have to identify one of the literal and search for that literal in the reverse consideration on any of the CNF clauses we have. Means if suppose I have positive A available in our goal, then in all clauses I have to search for negated A. So I have to make a pair of two literals in complete opposite context. Like one is positive and one is negative. If in the goal I have man Marcus, then in clauses I am going to search for not man Marcus. So when I combine these two, then I am going to introduce contradiction, and as I will be having contradiction, I am going to eliminate that. So I will keep doing that procedure, and at last either we are going to have null, that is contradiction is found, or no more progress will be possible, and hence we will be declaring that the goal is not possible to be proved. If the contradiction is found, then the meaning is negated goal is not true, it means goal is true. So this is what we had been discussing earlier when we had discussed the algorithm of resolution for preposition logic, and then we had been discussing about something called unification. So what we had discussed in unification, two propositions, if we say they are identical, then only it is possible that we can consider P in positive context and P in negative context, and then only we can consider that as contradiction. I cannot consider contradiction between P and Q, even if one of them is positive and negative, because both are giving you different information. So for considering parent clauses or for considering contradiction, we need to first of all try to unify them. Okay, so that unification algorithm with example we had been discussing in the last lecture. Today we are going to write formally the algorithm of unification. Okay, so there are multiple steps of the algorithm which we are going to write. Let us focus on it. So the algorithm's name, this algorithm has been asked a few number of times in GTO paper for 7 marks. Write down unification algorithm. So unification algorithm will take two arguments, L1 and L2. Now see, we are not right now clear what is L1 and what is L2. Okay, now L1 and L2 can be, now we are talking about resolution in terms of facts and predicates which we are actually going to apply, not preposition logic. Okay, so L1 and L2, they can be predicates with argument or without argument, or they can be variable also. So we are not clear about L1 and L2, whether they are atoms, whether they are variables, whether they are predicates with arguments, or so on. Okay, so what are the different possibilities? Suppose I am talking about variables x and y. So is it possible that I can unify x and y? I can say x and y are equal. Are you getting what I am trying to say? In which condition x and y I can say are equal? X and y can only be equal when either the value of y is stored in x. This is the first possibility. The second possibility is either the value of x is stored in y. In any of the possibility, what will happen? If this is the possibility, then you will have x is replaced by y, so you will have y. And here y is replaced by x, so you will have x. So unification is possible. Are you getting what I am trying to say? When unification is possible, in that case only you will consider one of them, you can consider one of them in negative context and one of them in positive context, and then you can eliminate them. So forget about negative and positive context. By unification, what we mean is both are possibly equal or not. So two variables, let us say this is L1 and this is L2. Then two variables are said to be equal only in the condition when y can be x can be replaced by y or y can be replaced by x. But imagine a scenario where you have a variable x and then you have something called this. This is a set xy. So I am comparing my variable with a set. In this case, what happens? This x is actually part of the second. This is this is L1 and this is L2. So what happens over here? L1 is a variable x and L2 is a set which contains two variables x and y. So x is a separate variable and over here x is part of L2. So is it possible that you can unify L1 and L2? No, this unification is not possible because even though L1 is variable, it is part of L2. Similarly, if L2 is a variable but it is part of L1, are you getting what I am trying to say? L2 is variable but it is part of L1. In that case also unification is not possible. So whenever unification is not possible, what we are going to return? We are going to return fail. So in both these cases, fail is going to be returned. Now what is next possibility? Next possibility is you don't have variables. You have atom and variable. Okay. So suppose L1 is x and L2 means this is a variable, and let us say L2 is winter, or let us say John. Okay, so this is atomic value, fixed value, and this is a variable. So if you want to unify them, unification is only possible when the value of x can be substituted by the value John. If this is possible, then only unification is possible. Are you getting what I am trying to say? When this will happen? When L1 is a variable and L2 is atom. The similar reverse case can happen, that your L1 is, let us say, winter and L2 is, let us say, x. If you try to unify both of them, then unification is only possible when x can be replaced by winter. Yes. Are you getting this clearly? Okay. So if x can be replaced by winter, then only this unification is possible. What is the next possibility? Means we have talked about one of the variable, one of the atom. Now let us say we are talking about predicates. Suppose you have two predicates as we have discussed earlier. Man, Marcus, and man, let us say John. Is it possible that we can unify them? Can we say both are unifiable? So whenever you have predicates, what you have to do? You have to compare the name of the predicate first of all. So name of the predicate is same over here. So we'll count total number of arguments are same. Yes, total number of arguments are also same. But if you observe the argument, then arguments are atomic values and both values are different, and hence fail will be returned. Here it is not possible to unify them. Suppose we have over here man, John as one of the predicate, and man, let us say John, comma x as second predicate. Then what is going to happen? If we compare, the name of the predicate is same, but total number of arguments over here it is 1, here it is 2. So unification is not possible. Moving ahead, if you have something like man John and the second is, let us say, man x. So this is a variable. So name of the predicate is same. One of the argument is over here variable. So this is unifiable only when the value of x can be replaced by John. Are you getting this? Yes or no? Similarly, if you have multiple, let us say multiple arguments available in the predicate, then each and every argument need to be mapped with the another argument in the predicate, and such replacement should be checked. If that replacement is possible, then only unification is possible. So if it is something like, let us say, married let us say John, comma ELE, and the second clause is married Susan, comma x. Now if you try to unify them, what is going to be problem? The name of the predicate is same. Here you have variable x, so x can be replaced by L. But the problem is the first argument over here is John and over here is Susan. So both are not unifiable. The first argument is not matching. Suppose you had over here John only. Then the first argument is same. The second argument over here is L and over here is X. So this is unifiable when the value of X is replaced by L. Are you getting this? So this should be done. The mapping of arguments should be done one by one for all the arguments until you will exhaust total number of arguments you have. So this is all, these all possibilities we are going to write as algorithm. So please focus properly the algorithm which we are going to now write. So the first condition over here which we are going to write is if L1 or L2 or both are either variables or constants. So this is the case. For variables this is the case, or they are constant, then this is the case. Then what is going to happen? If L1 or L2 or both are either variable or constants, then what check you are going to do? The first check is if L1 and L2 both are identical, means same, then return nil. Nil means true. We are not going to return false. Both are same, so we are not going to do anything, return nil. Okay, but if else if L1 is variable and L1 is variable, then if L1 occurs in L2, means this is the case, L1 is variable, L1 occurs to be in L2. In that case, what you have to do is return fail, because unification is not possible. The third possibility is else if L2 is variable and L2 occurs in L1, means this possibility that L2 is a variable but L2 is there inside as a part of L1, then again what we are going to do? Return fail. Simple, right? What is the next possibility? The third possibility, that in any of the possibility if it is not there, then return fail, means they are not identical and unification is not possible, so return fail. So that is when L1 and L2 both are not identical, then unification is not possible. What is the second possibility? If we are talking about predicates, means if we are talking about man Marcus and then I am talking about ruler Marcus. So see, name of the predicates are not same. So if the name of the predicates are not same, you are anyhow not going to unify. So if the name of predicate is not same, then return fail. If the name of the predicate, I am not writing the complete statement, you can read from the book, it is very well explained in the book as well. Okay, now if the name are same, means if we are talking about this case, that name of the predicate are same but the number of arguments are not same, means the predicate name is same but number of arguments is not same, then return fail. Simple. If the number of arguments are not same, then return fail. But if it is not the case, means if we are talking about this case, man John and man X, or we are talking about this case, married John L and married John X, then what we are going to do? Then have one list, set subset SUBST list to a nil initially. So this list we are going to consider for matching each and every individual arguments, whether it is matching or not. So initially make it nil. At the end of the procedure, this subset will contain all the substitution. These substitutions are going to be stored. X is replaced by John, Y is replaced by L, All these substitutions are going to be stored in this subset. Okay, what we are going to do next? For I starting with 1 to number of arguments in L1. So starting in the first predicate, now as many number of arguments, because the number of arguments are going to be same, we have already checked that condition previously. So as many arguments you have, that many times this loop should be moving. What you are going to do in this loop? So once again we are going to ask, call unify algorithm for ith argument. See, these arguments are either going to be variables, or they are going to be constants and variables, or both constants. So call unify algorithm for ith argument. Let us say for the first argument, okay, ith argument of L1 and L2, and whatever is the result of it, store it in subset. Whatever is the result, store it in subset. Okay, now what we are going to do next, let us call it as, then we are going to append that to subset. So as is once again a list. So call unify algorithm for ith argument. In this case, let us say John and John we are trying to unify. So what we are going to get as a result of this algorithm, both are identical, so return nil. So the first value nil is going to be stored in S. What is the next step? If S contains fail, if S contains fails, means if I had John over here and Susan over here, so these both won't match. L1 and L2 are not identical. In that case, it will return fail. So if it contains fails, then what you have to do, we won't check further arguments again, we will return fail. So this return fail, where it will happen? It will happen here in subset. So see, this subset will contain the value fail. If any of the argument is not matching, we won't go ahead and match for other arguments. Okay, if that is not the case, then what we are going to do? If S is not nil, if S don't contain nil, when S will contain nil? S will contain nil when each and every argument is matching. Means you are checking with man Marcus and man Marcus. Then Marcus and Marcus both are going to be same, and hence it will return identical, means nil. So when subset contains nil, then there is no replacement needed. But if S is not nil, then what you have to do? Apply S to both remaining L1 and L2, and then what you have to do? Second step, you have to append S to subset. Okay, let me explain this. So what you have to do over here is, if S is not nil, means you are having one of the replacement, for example John and X, then X should be replaced by John. Okay, so what you have to do, once one match is done, that should be appended in subset. Okay, what is the next match? L and Y, then Y should be replaced by L. So that is the second appendment that will take place, and that will keep on doing. So the last step that we are going to perform over here, the sixth step we are going to perform over here is return a subset. So what this subset will contain? Subset will contain all these kind of replacement that you have to make our predicates unifiable. Are you getting this? As we will be discussing algorithm, it will be more clear. So let us quickly discuss what we have already done in unification. L1 or L2 both are either variable or constant, then we will check that both are identical. If they are identical, then nil. If they are not identical, return false, fail. If L1 is a variable, then we will check L1 is part of L2. If so, return fail. If L2 is a variable, then check L2 is part of L1. If so, return fail. If not and they are predicates, then what we are going to do? Check the name of the predicate. If it is same, in that case, we will check for argument. But if it is not same, then return fail. Predicate name is same, but number of argument is not same, then once again return fail. If it is not so, means predicate name is also matching, predicate number of argument is also matching, then what we are going to do? We will be using one list for having all replacement, for checking the arguments are same or not, and storing the information of those replacements. So set subset to nil initially. Then for each and every argument, suppose you have 3 arguments, then 3 times the loop will move. What we are going to do, for individual argument of the predicates, you have to call this unify algorithm once again. And what we are going to do is, we will be checking, for example, the first argument is checked with the first argument. Both are same. If both are identical, then return nil. If one of them is variable, then x will be this replacement is done. This replacement is going to be stored in a separate list S, and later it will be appended to subset, which is our resultant list. Then the second argument we are going to match. If it is matching, then it will return nil. If it is one of them is variable, then it will suggest the replacement, and once again that replacement will be returning as it is going to be appended in a subset. And finally, when all arguments are matched, there are 2 possibilities. Either one of the argument is not matching, so you have to return fail, or all the arguments are matching, and hence you will be returning subset. So your subset may contain nil if all the arguments are atomic value and they are matching exactly. None of them is variable. Then subset will contain nil. The second possibility is subset will contain one or more replacement when one of them is atom and one of them is variable. So this is a simple algorithm of unification. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to solve a few of the examples, and after solving the examples, what we are going to do is, we'll be discussing the algorithm of resolution. Now before discussing the algorithm of resolution, we will try to write the algorithm of resolution from the algorithm of resolution we have discussed with the help of preposition. We have already discussed the algorithm of resolution for preposition. So what we are now going to do simply is, we are going to apply the same for the facts and the predicates. Okay, so let us write the algorithm of resolution for predicates. Okay, the algorithm of resolution for predicates. Okay, so the first step says, convert all the facts statements you have to, let us say it is F, then convert it to close form. Convert all the facts or predicates which you have to close form. What is the next step? Identify what goal you have. So let us say the goal which you are having is P. Then first of all, negate your goal, so it will be not P. After that, convert your negated goal to close form. Okay, so what next should be done? Convert your negated goal to close form. So take a goal, negate it. After negating, convert it to close form. What is the third step in algorithm? Now see, once the goal is available and the facts are also converted to close form, you are going to have a loop. This loop will keep on moving until, repeat until either contradiction is found or no more progress is possible. See, it's very simple. You have to keep on repeating until either the contradiction is found or no more progress is possible. Okay, that many number of times this loop is going to move. Okay, so what we are going to now do in the loop, we are going to select 2 parent clauses first of all. So select 2 clauses, call them parent clauses. Now how we are going to select these 2 clauses? These clauses are going to be selected such that they will have at least one literal in negative and positive context, means opposite context. Okay, so select 2 clauses, call them parent clauses. These clauses are going to be selected such that at least one literal in those clauses is going to be in opposite context. Now what we are going to do after selecting these two parent clauses, we are going to resolve them. So resolve them together. Resolve them together. Now what we mean by resolution? So this result of them is going to be called as resolvent. So after resolving them, what we get is called resolvent. So what is resolvent? This resolvent will contain disjunction, that is or disjunction of all literals. Disjunction of all the literals of both parent clauses with appropriate, I will explain this later, appropriate replacements and eliminating contradiction. So basically what is going to be resolvent? Resolvent will contain disjunction of all the literals of both parent clauses. So if the first parent clause contains A, second contains B, then resolvent will have A or B. Disjunction of all literals from both parent clauses with appropriate replacement. This we'll see with example, so it will be more clear. If you have to replace any variable by atomic value, that replacement will be considered over here. And eliminating contradiction means if I have something like this, T1 or T2 or T3, that is the first parent clause, and the second parent clause contains T4 or not T2 or let us say T7. These are the two parent clauses. Then what we are going to do when we are going to resolve them? So when we are resolving them, how parent clauses are selected? One of the literal should be in reverse context. So this is the literal which is in reverse context. What is opposite context? One of the occurrence should be positive, one of the occurrence should be negative. So yes, that is available over here. This is positive, this is negative. So this is contradiction found, and hence it is going to be eliminated. What is remaining? Remaining is T1, T3, T4 and T7. So what we have said over here, resolvent contains disjunction means or of all the literals of both parent clauses, means T1, T3, T4, remaining literals of parent clauses after eliminating the contradiction. Eliminating contradiction means the literals in the opposite consideration we have. So what is going to be resolvent over here? T1 or T3, that is from the first parent clause, and that will be disjunction. See, this is as it is from the parent clause 1. Now this disjunction is because we are going to have disjunction of the result from both parent clauses. So T1 or T3, and from here I will have T4 or T7. So this is the entire resolvent generated over here. Okay, now what we are going to do next as the third step? What is the third step over here? Then if resolvent is empty, if the resolvent is empty, it means contradiction is found. If the resolvent is empty, then contradiction is found. So we are going to stop over here and we can say that negated P is not true but P is true. But if it is not there, then, but if not, then add resolvent to clauses and repeat. So resolvent is once again going to be added to our clauses which we have generated over here, and we are going to repeat the procedure. Step number 3. So once again we will be selecting the parent clauses, and then we are going to select two parent clauses. Then we are going to check the resolution is possible or not, and we will keep on doing that until no progress is possible or contradiction is found. So this algorithm is called the algorithm of resolution for predicates. Okay. So this is something which has been asked in few of the question papers as algorithm itself. Writing these many steps will get you 7 marks. You need not to explain that with the help of example, but yes, this kind of short explanation along with the text will help even if it is not given in the book. So this is all about resolution. Only resolve pairs of clauses which contains complementary literals. What is complementary literals? These are called complementary literals. The literals which are present in both of the parent clauses in the opposite context, they are called complementary literals. So they are only those clauses, the pair of clauses are only selected such that they have complementary literals, and they only are going to be considered as parent clauses. Okay, eliminate certain clauses as soon as they are generated. Okay, whenever possible, resolve either one of the clause that is part of the statement you are trying to refute. Means the goal should be considered always as one of the parent clause. Whenever you have a resolvent generated, then that resolvent by default will be one of the parent clause, and another parent clause is going to be selected from the clauses we already have. So we'll try to reach to contradiction and try to prove our goal by applying resolution. Are you getting this? So this is the algorithm of resolution that we had to discuss. Now the next we are going to discuss is a sample example. So let us start with the, though in the book a solved example is given, we will prefer solving a simpler example first, and then we will move ahead with a little more complicated examples. So we are going to solve 4 examples, out of which 3 are the examples which have been asked in GTU question paper, and one is the solved example of book. That is also a few of the times asked in GTU question papers. So focus properly. The examples which will be solving, applying a resolution and proving something. These are the GTO questions for 7 marks. So we are going to discuss how the steps are going to be applied from the beginning. So we will start from having the facts, converting them to predicates, converting them to CNF, and then applying resolution. So the classic example, the first example I am discussing over here is the example we have already discussed. John likes all kinds of food. John likes all kinds of food. So here, before writing the next statement, what I am going to do is I will be writing its predicate and equivalent CNF form also. So what will be predicate for this? All kind of food means for all x. If x is food, then it implies likes John, comma x. Okay, so this is what we have written as predicate over here. Now what we have to do is convert this to CNF form. So there are 2 things that we have to do. First of all, implication need to be eliminated, and then the quantifier need to be eliminated. So these are the only steps most of the time you are going to apply to all the predicates. All other steps we discussed in algorithm may not apply. So when you eliminate an implication, the rule says if you have A implied B, it should be not A or B. So this is going to be negated. So what is going to be result? So it is going to be for all x, this was not negated, so negated food x. The implication will be or likes John, comma x. Now what we are going to do is for all x will be dropped. So this will be converted finally to not food x or likes John, comma x simply. So this is the equivalent predicate we have over here, CNF clause, conjunctive normal form or clause form that we have created for the statement number 1. Okay, now the second statement we are going to write apples are food. So the predicate which we are going to write for this is very simple, that says food apple. Now do we need to apply any rule for converting this predicate to a clause form? See, there is no implication available, no quantifiers available, nothing is available, no operators are there. So the same will be considered as the clause form also. No conversion is required. Similarly, the third fact which we are going to write over here is chicken is food. So writing predicate for this, it is going to be written as food, chicken. Okay. Now what happens over here? Once again, this is the simple most possible predicate and hence it is not going to be converted to closed form. The fourth one, anything, anyone eats, and isn't killed. Anything anyone eats and is not killed by is food. Okay. So see, anything and anyone, that is generalized format. Anything anyone is universal quantifier. So for all x, for all y, if x is anything anyone eats means eats x comma y, x is eating y, and x is not killed x after eating y, that it implies food y. Are you getting this? We have already done this. For all x, for all y, x is eating y and x is not killed by eating y, then food y can be called as food. The next statement, Bill eats everything. Bill eats everything. Bill eats peanuts. Bill eats peanuts and is still alive. Bill eats peanuts and is still alive. So we are going to write that as eats Bill, comma, peanuts and alive. Now Bill is alive after eating peanuts. That fact we need to incorporate. So there are two arguments in alive also. Bill, comma, peanuts. Yes. So now if we convert this to closed form, what will happen? Do you have any implication? No. Do you have any quantifier? No. But operator is there, and operator. What is rule for conjunction? The rule for conjunction says both predicates should be considered separately. So the first is Bill, the first we are going to get over here is eats. Both will be separated because they have conjunction in between. So eats Bill, comma, peanuts, that is separate, and the second one, that is alive Bill, comma, peanuts, that is also separated over here. Okay. Now what we are going to consider, what is the last step over here? Sue eats everything. Sue eats everything that Bill eats. So first of all, we have to convert that to predicate. So for all x, we are talking about all food, eats, if Bill is eating it, Bill, comma, x. If Bill eats x, it implies eats Sue, comma, x. Means if Bill is eating anything, then Sue is also going to eat it. Now we are going to convert that. There are two things. Implication need to be eliminated. For all need to be eliminated. So it is something like for all x not eats Bill, comma, x, or eats Sue, comma, x. Now we are going to drop for all. So I will eliminate this. You have to write as a separate step. You cannot just delete this. Okay. So these are the conversions that we have discussed. Now there is something which is inherent, which is not given in the fact, that is the relationship between alive and dead. Okay, as a human we understand that alive means dead and dead means alive, but that need to be added over here as a fact. So that means I have to additionally add a fact which says for all x, for all y, alive x, comma, y, if someone is alive after eating something, it means the person is not dead, so not killed, x, comma, y, that we need to add. Means if x is alive after eating y, it implies x is not killed after eating y. Similarly, we can add killed and not alive also. Okay. Now what will be CNF form of this? So the CNF form of this is going to be for all x, for all y. Then this is negated first of all. So not alive x, after eating y, or this is as it is, so not killed x comma y, and after that we are going to drop the quantifier. See, again you have to write them as separate steps. I am writing it in one step just because of the crunch up space. You have to write first of all with quantifier and then drop the quantifier and write it once again. So this is the conversion that we had required. Now what we have to prove over here? We have to prove John likes peanuts. John likes peanuts. So let us quickly prove it. So what is predicate for that? John likes peanuts. Likes John, comma, peanuts. Okay, so what we have to do over here? We have to negate this and convert to CNF form. So if I negate, it will become not likes John, comma, peanuts. Now it don't contain any implication or operator, so the same can be considered as closed form also. Now whatever negated closed form of bowl we have, that is going to be considered as one of our parent clause. The second parent clause we have to decide over here. So as it is not likes, you have to search for likes in the clauses. So here where you have likes, yes, it is available in one itself. So what we are going to do, one will be considered as one of the parent clause and this is the second parent clause. Why? Because you have not likes and here you have likes. So what happens over here, when you take the pair likes and not likes, they are complementary literal, so they will be cancelled out. Now what happens? Likes matches with likes. Unification need to be checked. So likes matches with likes. Now John matches with John. But here x is variable and it is peanut. So what is required? Replacement. So what is going to be replacement over here? X should be replaced by peanuts. If the replacement is possible, then only likes John comma x can be unifiable with likes John comma peanuts. So if you remember the algorithm, this is going to be written in S and later it is going to be appended to subset list. Okay. So what happens over here? These likes and likes, not likes, both are unifiable. So they will be cancelled out. And what is remaining? Not food. So in not food, the value of x we have in the resolvent. What is resolvent? The disjunction of all the remaining literals. Here we don't have anything else to be odd, but here we have not food. So what is answer here? Not food. Now I cannot write x because already the value of x is arrived over here, so I'll write peanuts. Are you getting this? How we got the value of x as peanuts? When we are resolving this with 1, I have not written the entire. You can write the entire parent clause also. Because of the crunch up space, I have written just the number 1. If I have written 1, you need to consider the entire clause. So both are considered as parent clause, then the value of x will be considered as peanuts. So here also the value of x will be peanuts. So what is resolvent? Nothing is remaining in first parent clause. In the second parent clause, remaining is not food. So not food, peanuts. So what you have to do now? You have to identify all the clauses and search for the opposite context. What is opposite literal? Complementary literal of not food. For not food, the complementary literal is going to be food. So if we search for food, see, we have over here food, but it is food apple. So the predicates match, but the argument don't match. Similarly, predicate matches, but argument won't match. We'll move ahead. Yes, over here, see, it is variable y. So, just a second. We have not converted this to predicate CNF form that we had to convert, right? So, let me quickly write that. This conversion is remaining. So, if we have to convert this, first of all, this will be converted to, I'll be writing it over here, okay? Over here, fourth one. So, for all x, for all y are going to be dropped and this will be negated and will be converted to or. So, not eats x comma y, then and is negated, so it is or. Then, not means, if not is applied to not, it is going to be positive. So, killed x comma y, and then this will be converted to, implication will be converted to or food y. Let me repeat. If you have to convert implication over here, then the entire this clause will be negated. So eats will be not eats, and will be or, and not killed will be killed. Then implication will be converted to or over here. So this is the result of 4. So please refer it over here. The result of conversion is over here. Fine. So see, if you observe not food peanuts and food y, they are unifiable if you replace the value of y with peanuts. So if I consider 4 as my parent clause, then unification is possible. Unification is possible with the value of y if it is replaced by peanuts. If you replace the variable's value y by peanuts, means here also it should be considered as peanuts and here also it should be considered as peanuts. Now in the first parent clause, do you have any literal remaining to write in resolvent? No. But in second parent clause, see, when you resolve them, food and not food will be cancelled out. It is contradiction. So what is remaining? In here nothing is remaining, but here you have two clauses that I have to write. Means not eats x comma y means peanuts. Peanuts. And then or killed. X will remain as it is, but what is value of y? Peanuts. Okay, now it is very simpler over here for us. So now these two are there. We have to search for one of them one by one. Let us search for not, as we have not eats, we'll search for eats. So eats, wherever we, yeah, see, here we have it, 5a. Eats, so eats matches with its unifiable. X can be replaced by bill and peanuts, yes, it is matching. So if you consider 5a as the second parent clause, 5a as the second parent clause, they are unifiable. They are unifiable such that eats will be cancelled out. And the first argument x should be replaced by the value of bill. See, peanuts, they are matching. So they will be returning nil, but the value of x will be replaced by bill. Now eats and not eats are cancelled out. So you won't have any resolvent from the first parent clause, that is the second parent clause. But what is remaining over here? This. So in the resolvent you will have killed, the value of x is bill, and peanuts. Simple. Okay, so you have to search for not killed. So not killed is available. Where available? Yes, it is available over here in 7th, right? So if you consider 7 as the second parent clause, then not killed and killed both are unifiable, same name the predicate. Now x should be replaced by bill and y should be replaced by peanuts. Both replacement should be done. So x should be replaced by bill and the second replacement is y should be replaced by peanuts. So this killed, bill, peanuts and 7 both are unifiable only when x is replaced by bill and y is replaced by peanuts. Once it happens, what will happen? This killed and not killed will be cancelled out. What is remaining? Not alive, bill, comma, peanuts. Bill is not alive after eating peanuts. So we will search for alive. Alive. Yes, it is available over here. So alive and not alive, both are unifiable. Bill exactly matches, peanuts exactly matches. So see, if you consider now 5b as the second parent clause with the resolvent, 5b is considered as the second parent clause with the resolvent, then it is unifiable. All the arguments are matching completely as they are atoms, and alive and not alive means the contradiction is found. So this is null. We have reached to null, or we can have this symbol also. When we reach to null, what we are proving over here? We are proving that John don't like peanut is false. It means John likes peanuts is true. So this is how the resolution, the process of resolution is applied. So we are going to please refer to this example properly. In the coming lecture, we are going to solve 3 more examples where we are once again going to write the facts, write the predicates, write their conjunctive normal form means closed form, take the goal and apply the process of resolution to prove contradiction, so that whatever statement, whatever goal we have been given, we can prove that properly. So that's all for today's lecture. Please, whatever we have discussed, refer it properly from the book also. If it is theory and if it is example, you have to solve that in your class note compulsorily. Soon we are also going to have assignment and quiz that also you have to attempt. Till then, stay happy and healthy and keep watching. Thank you.